In the bustling city of Lagos, there lived a young man named Ode. Ode was a cleaner at a grand hotel. He worked very hard every day, sweeping floors, washing windows, and making sure everything was spotless. Even though he didn't have much money, Ode was always cheerful and kind to everyone he met. One day, while cleaning the hotel's lobby, Ode saw a beautiful girl walk in. Her name was Amina, and she was the daughter of Mr. Olayinka, a very rich businessman who owned many companies in the city. Amina had come to the hotel to meet her father for lunch. As soon as Ode saw Amina, he felt something special in his heart. She had a warm smile and kind eyes. Amina noticed Ode too and smiled at him. From that day on, Ode couldn't stop thinking about her. A few days later, Ode saw Amina again. This time, she was sitting alone in the hotel's garden. Ode gathered his courage and walked up to her. "Hello, my name is Ode," he said shyly. Amina looked up and smiled. "Hello, Ode. I'm Amina. How are you today?" They started talking, and soon they were laughing and sharing stories. Ode told Amina about his family and his dream of becoming a teacher one day. Amina shared stories about her travels and her love for reading books. They enjoyed each other's company so much that they lost track of time. From that day on, whenever Amina visited the hotel, she would look for Ode. They would talk, laugh, and sometimes even share their lunch. Amina brought Ode books to read, and he would tell her about his favorite stories, but not everyone was happy about their friendship. One day, Mr. Olayinka saw his daughter talking to Ode. He was not pleased. "Amina, you should not be talking to the hotel cleaner," he said sternly. Amina tried to explain, "But father, Ode is a good person. He is kind and hard-working." Mr. Olayinka didn't listen. He told the hotel manager to keep Ode away from his daughter. When Ode heard this, he was heartbroken. He knew he could lose his job if he disobeyed Mr. Olayinka, but he also didn't want to stop seeing Amina. Days passed, and Ode missed talking to Amina. He tried to focus on his work, but his heart was heavy. Amina, too, was sad. She missed her friend and their wonderful conversations. One evening, Amina decided to write a letter to Ode. She slipped it under the door of the cleaning closet where he kept his supplies. The next morning, Ode found the letter. It read, "Dear Ode, I miss our talks and your stories. I hope we can find a way to stay friends. Your friend, Amina." Ode felt a glimmer of hope. He wrote back to Amina, telling her how much he missed her too. They continued to exchange letters secretly, sharing their thoughts and dreams, but the hotel staff began to notice something was going on. They whispered about the letters and watched Ode closely. One day, the hotel manager found one of the letters and took it straight to Mr. Olayinka. Mr. Olayinka was furious. He called Ode to his office. "How dare you continue to see my daughter after I forbade it?" he shouted. Ode stood quietly, his eyes full of sadness. "Sir, I care deeply for Amina. She is my friend, and I would never do anything to hurt her." Mr. Olayinka was not convinced. "You will stay away from her, or you will lose your job," he warned. Ode nodded, feeling defeated. He didn't want to lose his job, but he also didn't want to lose Amina. He walked out of the office, his heart heavy with worry. That night, Ode couldn't sleep. He thought about Amina and their friendship. He knew he had to find a way to see her, but he didn't know how. The next morning, he went to work, hoping to find a solution. Amina, on the other hand, was determined to talk to her father. She couldn't understand why he was so against her friendship with Ode. She went to his study and knocked on the door. "Father, we need to talk," she said firmly. Mr. Olayinka looked up from his papers. "What is it, Amina?" he asked, trying to remain calm. "Why can't I be friends with Ode? He is kind, hard-working, and he has big dreams. Why does it matter if he is a cleaner? Amina questioned. Mr. Olayinka sighed. Amina, you come from a wealthy family. You have a future to think about. Being friends with someone like Ode can complicate things. People will talk. But father, Amina protested, you always taught me that a person's heart is what matters most, not their wealth or status. Ode has a good heart. Mr. Olayinka was silent for a moment. He knew his daughter was right, but he was still worried about what others would think. Finally, he said, I will think about it, Amina. But for now, please listen to me and stay away from Ode. Amina nodded reluctantly and left the room. She decided she would respect her father's wishes, but she wouldn't give up. She needed to show her father that Ode was a good person. Meanwhile, Ode continued to work hard, but he couldn't stop thinking about Amina. He decided he would save up his money and go back to school to become a teacher. He wanted to prove to Mr. Olayinka that he could be more than just a cleaner. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Ode saved every penny he could. He worked extra hours and took on additional jobs. His friends at the hotel noticed his determination and cheered him on. One day, Amina visited the hotel again. She hadn't seen Ode for a long time and missed him dearly. She decided to speak to the hotel manager. Can I please see Ode? She asked politely. The manager hesitated, but he saw the sincerity in Amina's eyes. All right, Miss Amina. You can meet him in the garden, he said. Amina's heart leaped with joy. She hurried to the garden and waited. Soon, Ode appeared, looking surprised but happy. Amina. It's so good to see you, he said, his face lighting up. They sat on a bench and talked for hours. Amina told Ode about her conversation with her father and how she believed in him. Ode shared his plans to go back to school and become a teacher. I believe in you, Ode, Amina said. I know you can achieve your dreams. As they talked, Mr. Olayinka watched from a distance. He saw how happy his daughter was and how much she cared for Ode. He realized that maybe he had been too harsh. He decided to give Ode a chance. The next day, Mr. Olayinka called Ode to his office again. Ode, I have been watching you. I see how hard you work and how determined you are. I have decided to help you with your studies. You deserve a chance to follow your dreams. Ode was shocked and overjoyed. Thank you, sir. I won't let you down, he promised. Mr. Olayinka nodded. And one more thing, he said. You may continue to see Amina. I can see how much you both care for each other. Ode couldn't believe his ears. He thanked Mr. Olayinka again and left the office, his heart full of hope. From that day on, Ode and Amina's friendship grew even stronger. Ode worked hard at his studies, and Amina was always there to support him. They knew they had a long journey ahead, but they were ready to face it together. Years passed, and Ode completed his studies, becoming a respected teacher in Lagos. His dedication and hard work paid off, and he was known for inspiring many young minds. Amina, too, pursued her dreams and became a successful writer, her books filled with tales of hope and friendship. Despite their busy lives, Ode and Amina remained close friends. Their bond grew deeper, and their respect for each other blossomed into love. Mr. Olayinka, seeing their genuine connection and how much they had grown, gave them his blessing. One sunny afternoon, under the shade of a large baobab tree, Ode knelt down and asked Amina to marry him. With tears of joy in her eyes, Amina said yes. Their wedding was a beautiful celebration of love, attended by friends, family, and even the hotel staff who had witnessed the beginning of their journey together. Ode and Amina built a life filled with love, understanding, and shared dreams. They often look back at the days when they first met in the hotel's garden, grateful for the challenges that brought them closer and the love that made them stronger. And so, Ode, the once poor cleaner, and Amina, the rich man's daughter, lived happily ever after, proving that true love knows no boundaries.